Welcome to the Run Your Day podcast, a show dedicated to helping you expand your capacity, take your life in every area to an entirely new level, and creating a day and a life by design. Here's your host, Dan Hafner. Hello everyone, welcome back to the Run Your Day podcast. As always, your host Dan Hafner joining you here today. Today's topic is this: my rib is out of whack. As always, appreciate you guys joining. Sit back, relax, and enjoy this episode. All right, my friends, so I'm going to tell you a little bit of a story today. Hopefully you're not too grossed out by it, but I'll try to keep it pretty PG for you guys. So basically, as per the title, I have a rib that's out of place, and it hurts. Like, it really freaking hurts. So I guess a little bit of a backstory. I usually get allergies in the spring about this time of year. It's Memorial Day, the time I'm recording this episode, and ever since I moved to West Virginia, I really have not had spring allergies. I used to get them very, very intense. I always got hay fever when I was a kid, but just like spring allergies, right? And ever since I moved to West Virginia, they've never really bothered me, except for this year. This year they came back with a freaking vengeance. Like, my head's stuffy, I started developing a cough, and just really nasty, nose running, itchy eye stuff, just allergies, right? Which is kind of crazy because during this whole COVID-19 pandemic, you start to wonder, like, oh my gosh, do I have COVID and everything? And then you forget that it's allergy season, right? So anyway, I start developing this cough, right? And I'm hacking. I might even do it during this episode. I'm really trying to choke them down, but I just developed this cough from these allergies, just all the pollen in the air, right? And I wake up sometimes at night just hacking, and it's very unproductive, dry cough. And the other day I started to experience this really painful sensation right directly over my heart, like in my chest. And it only happened when I would cough, when I would start to really, really cough hard, right? And I asked my wife the other day, for those of you that might be new to the show, my wife she's a pediatric doctor. So it's not like she's a big people doctor, whatever you want to call them, a regular. She's very knowledgeable. She knows what she's talking about. But she's like, you have a rib out of place. Like, she felt over my chest and she hit right where it happened. Like, I can touch it right now. It's tender. Like, it hurts. But it only hurts when I cough or when I move in a certain way, or, I've noticed I need to not move certain ways because it hurts when I do that, right? So she's like, well, I'm like, well, how do I fix that? How do I get a rib back in place? She's like, well, you just can stretch and it'll go back eventually. And I'm like, really? Like, that's the fix? That's the fix to get a rib back in place? Like, obviously you can go to a chiropractor or a PT or somebody, and I'm sure they can manipulate you some way to, get that handled and get that back on point. But this has only been really happening to me for a couple days, and with Memorial Day and the pandemic, I don't really know what's open or where I can go or anything like that. So long story short, I'm sitting there and I'm hacking up. I wake up this morning and I'm just like, I'm in some freaking pain. Like, my chest hurts. This shit has got to go, right? And I'm having this thought, and it kind of pops into my mind of, you brought this on yourself, right? Like, just a simple thought of, you brought this on yourself, Dan. Like, this is a side effect of not handling or preempting your usual allergic susceptibility, right? And I started to realize when I really thought about it, why haven't my allergies come back since I've been in West Virginia? Well, I've been preventing them by taking nasal spray, by taking 24-hour pills, all year long. It just was part of my daily routine. I would just, even in the dead of winter, I would take allergy pills every single day, right? And I would get myself so loaded up on this medicine. It was so so ingrained in me that like when allergy season hit, it wouldn't affect me at all because I was consistent with it, right? And now I haven't done that in like 6 months, and now these allergies are kicking my freaking ass, like big time, right? So I'm having this thought, and I'm like, I could sit here and bitch and moan about this all I want, but I brought this on myself. Like this whole rib situation has come from like exacerbated coughing and not dealing with the root issue. Like just not dealing with the freaking root issue of allergies and the cough that I had, because I brought on this whole, I've never actually had a rib out of place. I did have a rib injury once when I was in high school. I had a bruised rib from football one time, which hurt, but it was like a lower rib. It wasn't like directly over my heart, which is like just a weird feeling, right? So, I got to thinking like, man, this really applies in a lot of areas of life, right? Like when you're consistent with something, like I was with my allergy medicine, it prevents a lot of things, right? Like when you're consistent with a fitness routine, right? It prevents a lot of health issues. It prevents having no energy. It prevents needing or developing, diabetes or different things. And I'm no doctor. My wife's the doctor. I can't like stand by all these, right? But like when you're consistent in going to church, or you're consistent in a relationship, like the whatever you're consistent at builds up and it gets better over time, right? So when you fall off of that consistency, it has secondary effects that are usually negative, right? So when you think about this in your life, is what area in your life have you been consistent in, and you notice that things aren't showing up negative for you, or the reverse of that, and kind of what's going on in my life, where have you fallen off of your consistency in whatever area of your life, whether it's fitness or a business marketing tactic, or sharing things on social media, or a relationship, or whatever it might be. Where have you fallen off of your consistency, and you notice that these secondary effects are taking place, aka the rib out of place, right? Because you start developing a symptom, and then that symptom leads to another symptom because of that, and it snowballs into one big giant freaking mess, right? So that's my question for you today. And this is kind of twofold, because I really encourage you to look at like, where in your life are you being consistent and it's not actually bringing about negative results. Like, right, for me, like I've been a lot more consistent inside of this podcast, inside of my other business ventures, and it's proving to show results. Like it's proving to bring in more money. It's proving to make more stability and grow my reach and grow my audience, right? That's the positive side. Now my allergies, I got to get that shit on point. Like this freaking rib out of place has got to go. Like I don't know what I need to do, but that shit hurts. Right. And sometimes it takes that, facing that pain or having that actual pain in your life to actually spur you into action, which is a topic for another day. But, as a wrap up today, that's really what I want you to think about. That's what I encourage you to take the time to really analyze in your life and think, where inside of the game of consistency can you afford to get more consistent to avoid negative results manifesting themselves in your life? All right. So a little bit of a shorter episode today. As always, appreciate you guys joining. It's been a pleasure. I notice more and more of you are coming in here. If you would not mind, I shouldn't really say it like that. Please go to iTunes and leave the Run Your Day podcast a positive review. I really, really appreciate that. It really helps the rankings. It helps the show reach more people, and it helps just the show do better. So if you are enjoying this content so far, or maybe you hate it and you want to leave a negative review, that's fine with me too. I really don't care. I'm going to do this regardless of whether we get positive or negative reviews, whatever the case might be. So as always, my friends, please leave me a review. You can head over to runyourdaypodcast.com as well. I got some additional resources coming out very, very soon. Got another page in the works. I'm working on a course for you guys, which is going to be really, really cool. So yeah, I got some exciting stuff coming down the line. And like I said, it's all about that consistency, my friends. All about that consistency. All right, everybody, this is Dan Hafner signing off. Make it a great rest of your day.